Nobody wakes up and decides to become obsolete. It happens one day at a time. One ignored technology, one skill you never learned, one process you refused to adapt to, or 1 year where you just stopped growing. There was a time when experience was enough. You learned your job, you mastered your craft, and you rode that expertise for decades. But the truth is, those days are over. Today, the winners aren't necessarily the smartest companies or even the biggest companies. They're the companies that learned faster than their competition. If your team isn't building, it's falling behind. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a culture that accelerates learning, fuels curiosity, and helps people grow faster than ever before. Welcome to the age of skill velocity. Let's specifically talk about how you can implement this into your leadership and with your teams right now, today. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the Leading Life Podcast, where we talk practical wisdom for leadership and life. I'm your host, Andy Zook, and I've learned that leadership is about how we show up for people, how we navigate change, and how we continue growing. Right now on today's episode, skill velocity and how to gain a new competitive advantage. So what we're not talking about today is just learning and training, but instead the speed at which we learn, adapt, and apply new skills in a world that's changing faster than ever. Welcome to the Leading Life Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Zook. As I always promise, real actionable steps you can take today, because in today's world, the greatest risk isn't failure. It's becoming irrelevant without realizing it. There was a time when skills lasted decades. You learned your craft and you gained experience and you slowly climbed, but that world is gone. Today, technology changes faster than our job descriptions. AI reshapes roles before annual reviews even happen, and skills expire in just a few years. So leadership is not about what people know. It's about how fast they can learn what's next. And that changes everything, because the real competitive advantage today isn't strategy. It isn't even talent, it's learning speed. So what is upskill velocity? Well, it's pretty easy to define. It's the speed at which individuals and organizations learn new, relevant skills and actually use them in their work. And there's 3 parts to it. Speed, which is learning quickly; relevance, learning what truly matters next; and execution is applying it immediately. So without execution, learning's just entertainment. And leaders who understand this build teams that stay confident, energized, and future ready. Leaders who ignore it, well, they watch their teams slowly fall behind. I remember when LensCrafters had rolled out this whole new sales process. Some people embraced it immediately. Others fought it with every step of the way. 6 months later, the people who embraced learning weren't just performing better, they were less stressed because they had confidence in the ability to adapt. Old leadership looked like this: hire talent, then train when you can, and then manage their performance. But modern leadership senses future skill gaps, accelerated learning, and redeploys that talent quickly. That means today's leaders must become 3 new things. First, you got to be a better skill scout. You must see what's coming before it arrives. Next, you need to be a learning architect. You must build environments where growth happens weekly, not yearly, not quarterly. And you have to be a confidence builder. You must create safety so people can learn without the fear of looking like they're falling behind. People don't resist learning. They resist feeling inadequate. And great leaders remove that fear. Here's the surprise. The biggest gap isn't really technical at all. It's learning agility. The real divide in the modern workforce isn't smart versus not smart, or experienced versus inexperienced. Trust me, I've met tons of experienced people, and their abilities are working in 30 years in the past. What it is it's essentially fast learners versus slow adapters. And here's a hard truth every leader must face. The most dangerous employee isn't the weakest one. It's the one who's great, but they stopped evolving. And that's where the stagnation begins. And stagnation is the quiet beginning of a decline for your teams, your organizations. So here are the 4 drivers of high upskilling velocity. Let's make it practical, because leadership isn't theory, it's behavior. And here are the 4 drivers that create learning speed inside teams. Number 1, you got to build a curiosity culture. People must feel safe to ask questions, not know the answer, not be afraid to tell people they don't know the answer, and explore new ideas. Without curiosity, learning never starts. And curiosity always follows psychological safety. You build this by rewarding questions, not just answers. But many organizations will celebrate the person who has the answer, who sounds like they got it all together on the conference calls. But great organizations also celebrate the person who asks the question nobody else thought to ask. And those questions could be like, hey, what are we missing here? What assumptions are we making? And is there a better way? Next, you got to make learning visible. If leaders never talk about what they're learning, employees won't either. Tell your team what book you're reading right now, what podcast you're listening to, what skill you're developing, and what mistake taught you something. Curiosity is contagious. Next, replace blame with learning. When mistakes happen, don't immediately ask who's responsible. Ask instead, hey, what can we learn from this? Because people become more curious when they feel psychologically safe. And make sure we are encouraging cross-pollination. And what that is some of the best ideas will come from outside your department. So encourage your people to visit other teams, learn different roles, and attend training outside their specialty. Innovation often happens at the intersection of different perspectives. Then you want to hire for curiosity. So when you're interviewing candidates, don't just ask, what do you know? Ask, what are you currently learning? Or what topic has been fascinating you recently? Knowledge gets outdated. Curiosity doesn't. And there's a great quote by Grace Hopper that is, the most dangerous phrase in business is, we've always done it this way. The organizations that thrive over the next decade won't necessarily be the biggest or the richest. They'll be the most curious, because curious people learn faster, curious teams adapt faster, and curious organizations build the skill velocity needed to win in a world that never stops changing. Number 2, the next thing you want to do is create a micro-learning rhythm. The old model was day-long training sessions nobody remembers. High-velocity teams learn in 10-minute lessons, weekly reps, and real-time coaching. Like I always say, if you don't have follow-up or coaching, you have flavor of the week. Learning becomes a habit, not an event. Do this by a simple formula of learn, discuss, and apply. So, learn. That takes 5 minutes. Read an article, watch a short video, or review a best practice. Number 2, discuss. Ask your team what stood out, what did we learn, and why does it matter? Number 3, apply. So identify one thing to try before the next meeting. The magic isn't in consuming information, it's in applying it. Or even simpler, 5-5-1. 5 minutes learning, 5 minutes discussion, 1 actionable item. Every week, that's only 10 minutes, but over a year, you've created a culture of continuous growth. Most organizations don't need more training. They need a rhythm of learning. 10 minutes a week, learn something, talk about it, apply it, and repeat. The third step is immediate real-world application. If learning isn't used within days, it just disappears. Winning teams practice immediately. They teach others what they learn quickly, and then they use the new tools in real work, because execution locks learning into the brain. And number 4, visible leadership learning. This one might be the most important, because if leaders aren't learning, no one else will. Modern credibility doesn't come from saying, yeah, I already know. It comes from saying, I'm learning too. And when leaders model growth, they unlock growth everywhere around them. So 4 steps. Again, number 1, create a culture of curiosity. Create a micro-learning rhythm. Start being able to apply immediate in real world terms. And then 4, visible leadership learning. Organizations don't usually fail because of competitors. They fail because their people can't change fast enough. And slower learning creates the fear of technology, burnout, talent loss, and a loss of confidence for your people. But faster learning and skill velocity will create more energy, innovation, retention, and belief in the future. So the real question for leaders today is simple. How fast are your people becoming better? And here are 5 moves that you can make right now this month. Let's get tactical. Number 1, hold a quarterly future skills conversation. Ask your team, what will matter 18 months from now? Number 2, expect 1 new skill per person each quarter, not massive, just consistent. Number 3, create pure teaching moments. The fastest way to learn is to simply teach. Number 4, celebrate learning, not just results. Reward growth behavior publicly. Number 5, share what you are learning. This simple act can transform your culture overnight. Upskilling velocity isn't about just work. It's about hope. because learning sends a powerful message. Your future is still expanding. That's what your people want to feel. And when they believe their future is expanding, they bring energy, courage, and creativity back into their lives. And that transpires all throughout your organization. That's leadership at its highest level. Here's a couple of great points on how to accelerate this in your culture by Christina Jones. She is the co-founder of Stack Factor, and she helps build workforce readiness that drives performance. One thing she says is redesign job descriptions as starting points rather than static endpoints, encouraging cross-functional learning. She also says focus on validated real-time demonstrations of capability rather than just course completion or theoretical certifications. Myself, I'm always bewildered as I watch companies chase training saturation scores, but really all they have is people completing the training for compliance. And if you really stepped in and asked them what they learned from it, I guarantee you they could probably tell you maybe 10 to 20% of the lesson. That means everyone's just doing things for compliance and not really getting the information and applying it to their job. That's incredibly scary to me. One other thing Christina Jones says is leverage the data and platforms to map employee aspirations to internal projects, gig opportunities, and new roles before external market shifts catch your business off guard. And here's today's leadership edge. Great leaders don't just prepare people for today's job. They prepare them for tomorrow's world. And tomorrow belongs to the fastest learners. So here's your challenge for the week. This is your call to arms for the episode. Identify one skill your future requires. Take one action to start learning it. And then start encouraging one person around you to grow with you. Because the leaders who win in this era won't be the ones who know the most. They'll be the ones who learn the fastest and keep learning. Again, here are the 5 actions you can implement immediately. Hold a quarterly future skills conversation. Expect 1 new skill per person each quarter. Create pure teaching moments. Celebrate learning, not just results, and share what you personally are learning. All right. That is today's episode. And if this podcast gives you practical leadership insight and makes a positive impact, please share it with someone that you think it could help and influence. I would truly appreciate a quick rating or review on whatever platform you listen to me on. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next on the Leading Life Podcast, where we don't just talk about leadership, we really live it. I'm your host, Andy Zook. I want you to lead with purpose, live with intention, and keep becoming who you were meant to be. But most importantly, I want you to go out today and be the hero in somebody's story. Thanks for listening. I hope this helped. Let's upskill velocity. Let's learn faster, and let's build our relevance in an ever-changing world. Have an awesome week. I will talk to you soon. Bye.